Hey, how are you doing? Front seat's perfect. Okay. How's everybody doing? Happy to be back? Kind of transitioning? Okay. Well, I'd like to welcome you to Population Genetics, Ecology, and Evolution. I'll be with you the entire semester, and my name is Steve Johnson, and we'll be meeting here regularly, 9:30 to 10:45 every Tuesday, Thursday. And I hope that, whoa, that looks weird. What happened here? Oh, I see. Anyway, we'll kind of go through, what we're going to try to do today is kind of go through some sort of necessary things in terms of the syllabus to make sure you're all up to speed, and I'll tell you some of the things we're going to do that are a little bit different than other courses, but I hope are a little more entertaining. And one of the things you'll notice that we came into a classroom, they don't have fixed seats. So what you're going to see is, you know what I find when I was an undergraduate a long time ago, what I really hated was lectures that professors that just lectured all the time. How do you feel about that? Don't have to say anything. Okay. And I'll do a fair amount of lecturing, don't get me wrong, and we'll use PowerPoints, and I'll try some other means to capture text and all those sorts of things. But one of the things I really try to do is I'm going to try to, we'll do iClickers and all those sorts of things, but also we're going to break up pretty much every lecture with sort of discussion groups, right? And so you're going to kind of work together in teams, and I'm going to give you a little thought question or something, and you're going to write it up. And sometimes it might be for homework, and then the other times some kind of incentive might be it'll be used for extra credit. How does that sound? Okay, and I'll add those to the kind of the points on exams. So just to kind of, one of the things, and I think what's unusual about this course, and sometimes it's a shock, it depends, on your background, but a lot of times what we do in this course tends to be, you might dispute this once you take the first exam, is I don't try to do too much in terms of just kind of rote memorization, right? I mean, you have to understand the language of evolutionary biology, ecology, and population genetics, don't get me wrong, and it's, it's going to be unique to you. But the other thing I try to do is try to stress concepts, right? How we use experiments and data to test hypotheses, and how science is really a dynamic field in which, there aren't a whole lot there. What we believe is truth is hard to say sometimes, right? And we always want to investigate. We always have doubts. We always want to question. And this is an important part of being a scientist. And oftentimes, can you ever say something is absolutely ever proved? Not really, but there's a preponderance of evidence supporting hypotheses, and this is how we approach science, okay? I think this is an important thing that I'm hoping you all understand. So, okay, let me just go through some of the details. And what I'm doing is I'm recording every lecture, and I'll be posting it on YouTube and Moodle, so you can review every lecture, okay, if you want to. And so hopefully that'll help. So I'm Steve Johnson. There's my telephone number. That will go to the person who's in the front office in the College of Sciences, Charles Ann. She's really nice, okay? And so I'm over in the College of Sciences office in Sciences 1100, okay? And I'm a professor in biological sciences, but I'm also the dean of the college. And so don't let that intimidate you. I'm a nice guy. I'll be happy to see you at any time, even outside of office hours if you need help. And I'm really, I enjoy teaching. I only teach once a year, and this is it. And it's a course I really love. So those are my office hours, 8 to 11 on Wednesday, Friday through 1 through 4. I will do my best to stick to those hours. I block those times out, right? But when my boss calls me or says I need to have a meeting with you, or I get called off campus, sometimes it's hard, but I'll let you know I'm having difficulty meeting those office hours. But again, those are the regular office hours, but I am more than happy to meet you outside of those office hours if you need help. Okay. There's my email, sgjohnso@uno.edu. Much to my wife's chagrin, I'm on my phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so that's the easiest way to communicate with me, okay? And I'm happy, and here are your lab instructors. Everybody knows there's a lab associated with this. And what we really try to do in this course is I use the lecture to reinforce and to help you prepare for the lab. These labs are very tightly integrated with the lecture, so you have the material. It's not, you're going to have to learn a little bit in lab, but I'm trying to set the stage in lecture so that you are prepared for lab. And this course is, I think, is a very tight integration between lecture and lab. So it's very, very important that you come to the lecture and also attend the labs. So Trent, Liz, Courtney, and Devin are the 4 lab instructors there. I don't know Courtney, she's brand new, but the other 3 are great, and I think you'll find this to be a pretty good experience. And we will have an undergraduate peer instructor that will do kind of supplemental instruction. He or she will be available during certain times of the semester to work in the Biology Learning Center to help you. We'll also have review sessions, study sessions each week where you can go and ask questions and those sorts of things. So that person has not been named yet, so, but we should get his or her name, I think, fairly soon. I got an email last night. The textbook is Evolution by Bergstrom and Dugatkin. The new edition is the 2nd edition, and is it Simon? Simon just asked if the 1st edition would work. I guess if you have it, go ahead and go for it. There are some new things. The chapters are pretty much the same. There are often some new studies that are in the new edition that aren't in the 1st edition, but I will be pulling all of the slides and materials from the 2nd edition from the instructor's resources. So if you can get that, that would be the best. I think you can probably get by. You might see how it goes. The other thing I may consider doing, I may try to put this 2nd edition on reserve in the library too. So let me see if I can get another copy and do that as another possibility, because I know how expensive textbooks are and how difficult it can be. But one of the other nice things, there's also an ebook available online, and I've given you the link on the syllabus, and it's only $55, and it gives you, if you like that, it gives you access to all the materials and also gives you access to what's called the Inquisitive module, and I'll be getting to that soon, okay? So obviously there also is the lab manual. We don't make you pay for it. It's a freebie. I will post each week on Moodle both kind of the lab exercise, and then I'm new, this was just changed in the fall. There's also going to be a separate file with like the answer sheets and tables. So both of those will be on Moodle. You don't have to print the lab manual itself when you come to lab. There will be hard copies available in lab. I would highly recommend you read the lab manual before you come to class, but you don't have to print it, okay? That hard copy lab manual will be available. Every student will have a copy once they get in lab. So we think that cuts down on paper use and all those sorts of things. And then hard copies will avail in lab, but students are responsible for printing the answer sheets prior to lab. So what you do at the end of lab is you just turn in your answer sheets. And I think the answer sheets and the tables are separate. I'll have to, it's new to me, so I'll see what kind of files I get from. Devin is one of my PhD students, and he's kind of oversees the lab, so I'll be getting all the information from him. So we'll be posting the first lab probably tomorrow or Thursday. So guess what that means? No lab this week, okay? So there's no lab this week, and so I'll come to that. Here's kind of the composition of grade, and I'll give you the formula for how we do it, and it's basically there are 3 regular exams centered around the 3 topics in the course, right? First one will be population genetics, the second one will be evolution, and the third will be ecology. So those are kind of the 3 sections of the course, and each one has an exam. There's going to be homework that's going to be given, that's going to be turned in. It's usually you take it home and bring it back to me, and I grade them, okay? And that's where each exam is worth 25%. The homework is worth about a total of 7.5% of your grade. Attendance is part of the grade. I'm trying to encourage all of you to come, and I understand when circumstances arise where you can't come, just email me or tell me, you can't make it, here's why, blah, 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 those sorts of things, and I'll do my best to excuse you from that. So we'll use the iClicker for attendance and also for sort of interacting with you and giving you like multiple choice questions in the middle of the lecture to see how you're comprehending stuff and all those sorts of things. So we'll use the iClickers as attendance. Does everybody are you all required to have iClickers? Pretty much? Okay. So does anybody want to explain what an iClicker is? Show you. There's an electronic So what it is, whoops, it's broken, but still works if you hold it in. So this is an electronic device. I believe I get an iClicker too, right? So they're available, I think, in the bookstore or Amazon, or however you want to get them, Amazon, whatever's the cheap, huh? $20. So basically it's a way for you to interact with me. You put your name, email, and I think some other things in the database on iClicker, and then it tells me, you know, you clicked in, and I have an attendance record. It tells me how you did on that particular exam. So it's basically kind of an interactive tool so that you can sort of, okay? So, and again, I'm not going to start taking, do you think I'm going to start taking attendance this week? No, I'll wait till next week. Okay, and I'll understand if, you know, if you don't have it yet, you know, just come up and tell me afterwards once I start taking attendance, and then, you know, I'll just keep a manual record if you don't have one yet. But I can't do that the entire semester. So try to get the iClicker as soon as possible, okay? So the other thing, so then the laboratory grade, you turn in lab sheets, they get graded every week, and they're worth 15% of your grade. So that's a total of about 100%. I'll give you the formula for how you determine all that. You just basically take your exam grade, 0.25 times your exam grade, and keep doing all those out of 100. They're basically all be out of basically 100 points, okay? And let's see, what else? Grading and course policies. There's the kind of, what I've decided to do, right? Sometimes people struggle with certain parts of the course, and I don't want to burden you too much with a bad grade. So what I actually do is I allow you to drop one of your regular exams and take the optional. The final is optional in this course. So I'll allow you, if you didn't do too well on an exam or you want to improve your grade by taking the final, you can do that. So the final, if you're happy with your grade at the end of the semester, then you can opt out of the final. So I'll use the kind of the final as a way to help you improve your grade if you need it. Okay, I think I may not have looked. So basically the grading scale is pretty similar, 90, 80, 70, 60. I reserve the right to adjust that scale. Do you want downward or upward? Downward, okay. So oftentimes, you know, the 70%, you know, may not be the low C range, but I won't tell you what that's going to be, okay? So but basically that's kind of the typical thing. So what I really want you to do is, as we go through this, a lot of the lecture material, I tie it very closely to the textbook, okay? All the slides, all the data, I add some verbiage and text myself to slides, but it comes directly from the textbook, okay? So you can really use your textbook to help reinforce what I've lectured about in class. You can also, if you're keenly interested, learn about things at much greater depth than I can do in lecture, because it's virtually impossible for me to really sort of explore the depth of a problem or the amount of data or the questions surrounding any sort of study in a lecture. It would take me forever. So I try not to get bogged down too much in details of studies and try to hit the key points. And that's one of the things I really try to do. So the other thing is, in-class assignments and attendance will use iClicker, so please purchase one if you don't have one already and register it. And we'll start taking attendance next Tuesday. And then you will only be tested on material covered in lecture or lab. I am not going to ask you to understand all of the material in every chapter that we cover in the textbook. Only, you know, I cannot cover everything that is in every one of these chapters. So you are not responsible for any material in the textbook that I did not cover in lecture. Okay, so I was kind of one of those people who just read everything, don't get me wrong, right? I was one of those bad types. So, well, should I really say this? And then there were certain courses where I didn't want to read anything. Okay, so I'm hoping this is one of the courses where you want to read. Okay, we'll see. And the other thing is, I changed this a little bit. There's a textbook web assignment, and it's called the Inquisitive Online Learning Modules through the publisher. And these modules help students understand topics, 3 general areas, and they're the interpretation and reconstruction of phylogenetic trees, and we'll be spending a lot of time on phylogenetic trees because it's a really important component of this course. We'll also be doing population genetics, and then the other module is interpreting charts and graphs. And this kind of zeroes in on at least the first part. What I'm going to ask you, we're going to be spending a lot of time looking at data, interpreting data, hypothesis testing, statistical analyses. And so the first thing you want to do is really look at the interpreting charts and graphs. I would do population genetics next, and then phylogenetic trees can wait because it's a series of lectures that will extend into the second part of the course in the evolution part. So here's what I've done. This can be, so what I'm going to do is if you score above 75% for each module, I'm going to add 2 points to each exam. So view this as, these are bonus points, okay? So by registering for this, there's the link. So the population genetics and the charts and graphs modules will need to be completed before the first exam, okay? And the phylogenetic trees module will need to be completed prior to the second regular exam. And there's the student set, and I put on Moodle. Has everybody been on Moodle? There's a guide for there's a PDF on how to access and register for the inquisitive module, and you need that. It's all on there, so it's a pretty straightforward thing. So you can start that pretty much any time. It can be let me just tell you, these modules can be kind of challenging, but I think hopefully they'll be somewhat interesting. I think they are interesting. So basically the way this works, for the first thing, if you score above a 75%, on each of the first 2 for the first exam, you'll get 4 extra bonus points on your exam. How's that sound? Yeah.
You have to buy the ebook.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, I haven't checked that, but I'm pretty sure you have to buy the ebook to get access to the inquisitive module. Yep. I don't know. Norton allows that?
Yeah, they give you a trial. You get access to everything.
Okay.
It's a limited access, actually.
Why don't somebody explore that for me and come back to the class? I'd be surprised. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I signed up too.
Okay. So the inquisitive module is separate. You can do that separate of the ebook purchase? Okay. I would highly recommend you buy the textbook, but I can't enforce that. I'll just make it's highly recommended, okay? And I understand costs, so. Okay, your instructors will be going over the lab stuff, and everything is turned in at the end of lab, so you don't have to take lab reports home, and I think they're fairly, not always straightforward, but you know what you exactly need to do to progress through it, and so they all are done. Here are the various kinds of student learning outcomes. I can talk about those, but let me just, here's some additional comments, and so take a look at that, some additional comments. The PowerPoints of each lecture will be posted prior to class. All this week's lab lecture PowerPoints and PDFs are on Moodle right now. And then I do audio video capture of lectures, and I put them in a MP4 format, and I post them on Moodle and YouTube after each class. Okay, so I'll send you the link to my YouTube page where all my videos are, and you can look at those. Okay, you can look at them either there or via Moodle. Okay, so one of the things is, here's what I care about in this course, right, and what I hope you get out of it. One is I hope you come away with an understanding, and I know it's, you guys, I hope you come away with an understanding that evolutionary biology and evolutionary thinking is an approach that even if you're going to be a doctor, right, or you're going to be, I don't know, a neurosurgeon, or you're going to be a PhD in cell and molecular biology or anything like that, evolutionary biology provides kind of a format and the key concepts that really inform a lot of what we do in biology. And I hope that one of the other things I hope, and this is kind of my background, I'm an evolutionary biologist, I'm an ecologist, I've studied organisms all over the world. I love going to fascinating places that are unexplored, that have a lot of biodiversity and things like that. And I know this isn't what you're all interested in. I understand that completely. But, you know, what I always viewed when I was an undergraduate, I always viewed college as a place where I got to forget about other things. Okay? And I know it's hard. Personal things come into play. But the other thing is, hopefully this is a place where you can explore new ideas, new things, and sort of learn about the world in unusual ways. And I hope that what I convey and what I try to do through all these examples is tell you, you know, some really unique things, how all this diversity has been generated, how a lot of diversity can be lost, and we'll be focusing on some issues that I think are critical in the current world we live in. I do not shy away from controversial topics. Again, I'm not here to brainwash you. I'm here to present data and evidence, and I hope that, you know, you come away and with a better understanding of how evolution, population genetics, and ecology help us to understand the diversity of the world around us and the potential threats and consequences to diversity in the world. So that's kind of what I really hope you get out of this. Okay. Are there any questions about that? And I'm going to kind of then launch into maybe the first mini lecture. So, do you have any questions about the course? Okay. What I will try to do, I want to try to keep the